If you were wondering, what is an executive director's job description? Well, I'm going to share that with you here in just a few minutes. So that's a good question about what is an executive director's job description. Some have called an executive director a jack of all trades because you're responsible for everything in the nonprofit. It is a never-ending job. It is so rewarding, but it takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. So what I'm going to do is go through some of the things that I've learned over my years of being an executive director for several different types of nonprofits. Plus, I've been a fundraising consultant, consulting and coaching new executive directors on what exactly is their job. So when I say a jack of all trades, you're the one who's where the buck stops here. Now, granted, you report to the board chair. You, in essence, report to the entire board, but your boss, as you will call it, is the chair of your board or the chair of your board of trustees. So that's typically the person who can hire you and also can fire you. And you want to be sure that you have a good relationship with that board chair. Typically, when you have especially a large board, you're going to have some people on the board who try to control you and your staff, but keeping in mind that it's the board chair who is your boss. You need to be a really good leader if you're going to be an executive director. So coming into it with a leadership background helps tremendously because you have to be really good at both managing up and managing down. Managing up to the board chair and the rest of the board, and managing down to your staff, because your staff is going to report to you. You also need to be the chief fundraiser. I can't tell you the number of executive directors that I've worked with who do not want to do fundraising. It's one thing if you just don't know how to do fundraising, but it's another if you say, that's not what I want to do. I came into this job because I believe in what the nonprofit does. Yeah, you got to believe in what the nonprofit does. There's no doubt about that. But you also have to be really good at managing people. You have to manage your staff to empower them. I had a staff member come to me one time and say, here for the summer months, we would like to work for 4 10-hour days instead of working the typical 5 8-hour days. And I know that my staff puts in a lot of extra time, because when you're a fundraiser, you go to events at night, you go do networking, you do things with donors on weekends. So it's not really a 9-to-5 job. And just compressing that into 4 10-hour days during the summer, I felt like was something that I could do. So I asked her if she'd talked to the other staff, and she had, and everybody said, we love that idea. Interestingly, I did agree. Interestingly, the other departments did not like this at all. There were a few different reasons for this. Number one was their staff was saying, well, if the development department can do it, why can't we? That was one problem. Another problem was the department said, okay, so if we need something on that one day of the week when the person's not there, we're going to have to wait. And if it's a Friday, we're going to have to wait all the way till Monday. So I asked my staff, I said, can you all spread out the days off that you take so that there will always be one of you in the office? Now, I was working my typical 60-hour week, so I wasn't doing 4 10-hour days. But I wanted to be sure that one of them was in the office, and I asked that they put their calendar on their door of their office so that people knew when they would be in, what days of the week. And interestingly, the other departments learned, oh, wow, she's not in on Wednesday, or she's not in on a Thursday, or I saw that she's not going to be in on this coming Monday. But what happened was within about 4 weeks, so within the first month, more than half of my staff came back to me and said, you know, we really like the idea of this in the beginning, but I don't like getting up that early in the morning. And some of them said, I don't like getting home that late in the evenings. And so by the end of the summer, most of them had gone back to their regular work schedule. What it did was, though, it gave them the freedom to do something different so that it wasn't just the same old grind every day. And so that's why you need leadership experience, because you need to come into it and know that you can manage people, because those people are the ones that are going to make the nonprofit successful. The donors will appreciate it. You know, Penelope Burke, and a lot of people in the fundraising world know her. She does a lot of research with donors. And one of the things that donors said to her when she was doing research, and asked them the question, what age do you like for the person who's asking you for money to be? I mean, do you want them to be closer to your age? Do you want them to be older? Do you want them to be younger? And here's what their answer was. They said, we don't care about the age of the person who is visiting with us and asking us for money. We just don't want them to be boring. What makes a fundraiser boring is when all they do is work. Giving them flexibility to have vacations, to take time off work, to go to Europe, to go boating, to do things that are fun and exciting for them to talk to other people about. Nothing's more boring than going in and talking to a donor, the donor saying, well, now, what do you do in your free time? Oh, I don't have free time. I just work all the time. As an executive director, you need to empower people to enjoy their time off so that they'll be a better person, a better employee, and you'll be able to keep them longer. If you keep a good relationship with your board, if you keep a good relationship with your staff, if you're a fundraiser and you go out and you meet with your higher level donors, and you can decide how big your portfolio is and who you're going to meet with. If you do all of those things, you're going to be able to be in your job longer than what the average is. Some say the average time an executive director is in their position is somewhere between 12 and 18 months. We don't want you to be in that same position only 12 to 18 months. So when we talk about what is your job description, know who you report to, who reports to you, and then you'll be successful in that position. Thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll get videos every time that I do a new one. And I do them on lots of different topics. Thanks so much for joining me today.